in Cleveland took another hit this week as Shedeur Sanders had to leave practice Wednesday with an oblique injury. Head coach Kevin Stefanski told reporters that Sanders will likely be out for preseason game number 2, which means Dillon Gabriel could see the field if that hamstring is ready. Back with us is our senior NFL writer, Jeremy Fowler, and NFL analyst, Mina Kimes. And Jeremy, Shedeur hasn't officially been ruled out for preseason game number 2. However, what's the latest on his status?
Well, I'm told he's still highly unlikely, so not looking good for Sanders in preseason game number 2. That sets the stage for Dillon Gabriel. The Browns' original plan was to play both quarterbacks extensive snaps in back-to-back preseason games. That was Sanders last week. It's now Gabriel's turn, but that hamstring has been tricky. He's been monitoring it over the last 48 hours, trying to make sure he can get on the field and evade the pass rushers. So if he can get that chance, he's going to play a lot because it's just him and Tyler Huntley, Snoop Huntley. Kenny Pickett will be out this week. That sets the stage next week for Joe Flacco, who appears to be the favorite to get the start. But right now, it's all about the rookie Gabriel to see if he can get himself healthy enough to play.
Okay, so for those of you that are new here, you just heard a lot of names when we're talking about the Browns quarterbacks. Yeah. So, Mina, now I go to you. Keeping 4 quarterbacks on the roster, of course, that's almost unheard of. We've talked about it plenty. But what do you make of the way the Browns have managed the situation so far?
Well, I think all of the injuries have obviously been unexpected, so they haven't had any choice but to sign Huntley and give, Sanders to start week 1. Now Gabriel, that's more about health, I think, than any deliberate plan. As far as the plan goes, I think the Browns believe their 2026 quarterback is probably not on the roster, right? You got the draft pick from trading out of that second overall spot, the Travis Hunter pick. So this year, you take a lot of shots on goal. It's what they did, not at great cost, trading for Pickett, drafting Gabriel and Sanders later in the draft. And you see if any of it works out. Joe Flacco is your veteran. He's going to start week 1. More likely than not, one, if not more, of these young quarterbacks will get chances during the regular season. But the more is more approach to me is more about a long-term view of roster building, and they're just kind of taking shots to see what's possible.
Yeah, a lot to follow with that Cleveland Browns quarterback room right there. And so, Jeremy, Jackson Dart gave Giants fans something to be excited about in his preseason debut. He went 12 of 19, 154 yards and a touchdown against the Bills. So where does he stand right now in terms of the pecking order in that quarterback room?
Yeah, I was actually at Giants camp this week. Amina, Jackson Dart was firmly number 2 in the pecking order when it came to the reps. It was Russell Wilson with the starters, then Dart would come in, and then Jameis Winston. So I asked around with the Giants. They said, look, Russell Wilson is our starter. He'll be the week 1 guy, and then we'll just see how it goes over the process. But they consider Dart really, really tough. They consider him a fast learner and highly motivated. All those variables should put him on the field eventually. It just really depends on which week or whether Wilson can sort of stave him off. And meanwhile, Jameis Winston, the first passing snap he had when I was there, threw a 50-yard bomb, completed it. Like, sometimes he looks like the best quarterback out of the 3, so maybe he will play eventually as well. Like, it feels like anything's possible still a little bit in New York.
Not the Giants with the multitude of quarterbacks. Right? Excuse me.
I feel a theme here, yeah.
Right? Like, my goodness. Mina, what more does Jackson Dart, though, need to do to show this preseason how he could maybe make his way onto the field for the Giants earlier than planned?
I thought Dart's first performance was really encouraging. Obviously, the touchdown that's been going around. You saw the strengths that he exhibited in college, the arm strength on the go ball, placing it perfectly, and then standing in a pocket and taking a hit. That toughness Jeremy alluded to, I think, is one of his greatest traits. He also saw some inaccuracy, so obviously that's something he needs to work on. But I think part of the reason why he needs so many reps and why they don't want to start him immediately is coming from Ole Miss. That was such a college offense. Is very dissimilar from what he's going to have to do in the NFL. So in terms of going through full field progressions and things like that. So I think the more practice he can get, the more experience he can get, the more likely it is we'll see him this year. Certainly not week 1. I think when he ends up starting will be determined partly by his readiness and partly by what happens with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, and that makes sense. But he's in a great situation right now in New York to be able to sit back and kind of just relax. In Chicago, where the Bears are hosting the Bills in a joint practice ahead of their preseason game on Sunday. The Bears only played 1 starter in their first preseason game against Miami, but will look to their first unit for Sunday's game against the Bills. And that includes starting quarterback Caleb Williams. Our Bears reporter Courtney Cronin just left the practice field moments ago. And look, this was another test for Caleb Williams, right? To log reps, running a new offense against a team Ben Johnson called a Super Bowl contender. And so, Courtney, how did Caleb fare in today's session against the Bills?
Shay, it was a mixed bag, and I feel like a broken record saying that. I've said that all throughout training camp, but there was some good moments, and there were some not so good moments. So why don't we start with the positives? The Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze connection continuing to come alive, particularly in a red zone drill where 18 found number 15 for back-to-back touchdowns. And now the not so good as this team is trying to find its left tackle. The false starts continue to happen up front during a move the ball drill at the end of practice. First team offense for the Bears against the first team defense for the Buffalo Bills. There were multiple false starts. They had to replace Theo Benedette, who was starting at left tackle, with Braxton Jones about halfway through. And then they finally got into a rhythm when Williams found Olamide Zaccheaus for a 45-yard catch and run touchdown. But after that, 2 sacks given up. So a lot to work on as the Bears sort things out up front and as they sort things out on offense going into their second preseason game, where we will see the starters to be determined how much Caleb Williams and company will play.
Okay, I'm going to just hang on the positive there, the starting to get into a rhythm. That's the positive part of this. I know Ben Johnson said there's a lot more going on mentally for Williams as he executes this offense than there ever has been during his football career. Now, you mentioned that O-line and how the starting job for the left tackle is kind of up for grabs. What can you tell me about that ongoing battle to determine who's going to protect Caleb Williams' blindside?
You know that phrase, once is by chance, second time something happens is a coincidence, the third time it happens is a pattern? Well, that's what we saw from Theo Benedette, who got the start today at left tackle with the ones, the fourth person to be inserted into this left tackle competition. And Ben Johnson said he's searching for clarity. Nobody has been able to grab this spot and cement themselves as the starter to this point in training camp. So that's why you've seen a lot of movement. Braxton Jones, the incumbent starter, 40 starts under his belt, getting a lot of work with the twos the past couple of days, got some reps with the ones earlier today, but also got beat by Gregory Rousseau on a sack in the last move the ball period of practice. Ozzie Trapillo, the second-round rookie, is now playing over on the right side of the offensive line at right tackle, the position that he played for the majority of his career at Boston College. And then, of course, Karan Amagaji still in the mix, but kind of feels like the distant fourth right now. You know what they say, if you have 4 left tackles, do you actually have 1? That is what the Bears are going to try to figure out here over the course of the next 2 weeks.
Is that what they say? Here's what I know. The Bears acquired 7 new offensive linemen this offseason. Who's going to fit where? I guess we will wait and see. Courtney Cronin, thank you so much.
NFL analyst Mina Kimes and our senior NFL writer Jeremy Fowler joins us right now. Mina, I'll start with you first. On Sunday, our girl Shay and other Chicago fans will get their first glimpse at the Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson dynamic. So what are you looking to see from Caleb Williams in that start?
Well, now I'm worried about the tackle situation thanks to Courtney. But as far as Caleb himself goes, I just want to see him play fast. I thought his rookie season, the biggest issue he had was holding on to the football. It took some sacks, and it really stemmed, in my mind, from him not having faith in the structure of the offense. It wasn't even him bailing on pockets the way he occasionally did in college to make plays. It was just him sitting there and not releasing the football. So you want to see that ball come out quick. You want to see that belief in Ben Johnson's offense. And as far as that offense goes, you want to see how does he look working under center. You have to think that's going to be a bigger part of the offensive scheme, the play action game off of that as well. But for me, for Caleb, first and foremost, I would like to see him throw the ball quickly, get it out on time.
Yeah, look, you can't see much from Caleb Williams if that left tackle situation is not right. All right, Jeremy, let's switch gears to this year's top pick in Cam Ward. He's playing tonight. What can you share about his growth as Tennessee's franchise QB?
Yeah, so I spoke directly with head coach Brian Callahan. He said that Cam Ward is a tireless worker. He's in the building every day, 4:30 a.m. He said his mental capacity is also similar to another quarterback he coached, Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. He's not making a direct comparison to the player. He said that'd be unfair. But he said from a mental approach, they are the same guy. They process information quickly. They want to be great. So they want to see Cam Ward just run a clean operation, like Mina said with Caleb Williams. Just get rid of the ball quickly. Callahan said every young quarterback struggles with pressure from the defensive line in the pocket, so he can't let that get to him. Distribute the ball, get a high completion percentage.
And Mina, I want to toss it to you. Cam Ward made a strong preseason debut in Tampa. He'll make his encore performance tonight in Atlanta. What's the next step in his development?
Yeah, I think just building on what he did well and improving the things that he needs to get better at. What he did well that first start, I think you saw a lot of the talent that made him the first overall pick, the accuracy, the aggressiveness, converting a couple 3rd and longs, really impressive, delivering great footballs to Calvin Ridley. And then as far as what he has to build on, a couple moments of errant decision making, forced to throw that could have been picked. There was early in the game, he bailed on a pocket. I think that's something that he can work on in this game and continuously as the season begins, of course. I'd also like to see him develop chemistry with receivers other than Calvin Ridley, who I do not believe is playing. Elika Ayumar from Stanford is one that I'm watching, who I think has the potential to be like that true X receiver in this offense, complementing Ridley. So I'm excited to see that connection in this game.
Yeah, all signs pointing up for Cam Ward right now. And Jeremy, we won't see Michael Penix Jr. or the Falcons' first-team offense tonight. So how is Penix coming along ahead of his first full season as a starter down there in Atlanta?
Well, part of the reason why he's not playing in the preseason is because the Falcons feel like they have a prized possession that they have to protect. Being there at Atlanta's camp, there's a lot of buzz about what they can do with Michael Penix because they feel like they can open up Zach Robinson's entire playbook because he has the arm strength to touch every area of the field. That was evident the day I was there. It was pouring rain, and he was driving the ball through the rain to his targets. He's developing more chemistry with both Drake London and Kyle Pitts, who you'll see line up out wide a little bit as a tight end. So they're going to get really creative because of that man's arm strength.
Yeah, so Atlanta wanting to